Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Arielle Feger, Senior Analyst, Media Content at eMarketer. It's great to have you with us today for today's Field Guide webinar, a new format where we explore the capabilities, needs, and benefits of key categories of MarTech, AdTech, or Commerce Tech. Joining me today is Kimen Warner, Senior Vice President, Personalization and Marketing Intelligence at Salesforce. Together, we'll explore the use cases and capabilities of agentic AI platforms for marketing, including core features to consider and essential steps for responsible integration. Hi, Kimen.
Hi, Arielle. Great to see you.
Thank you so much. Great to see you too. Now, before we get into this discussion, we're going to play a video narrated by Marcus Johnson, Senior Director of Podcasts and host of the Behind the Numbers podcast, to explain the eMarketer Field Guide made possible by Salesforce.
Just 2 years after the launch of ChatGPT, the way we use AI is evolving beyond chatbots. Welcome to the next phase, Agentic AI. eMarketer predicts that around 116 million US users will engage with generative AI in 2025. Agentic AI takes things a step further. It's all about true autonomy. Think AI agents that can carry out tasks on their own, make decisions in real time, and learn from their experiences. Gartner predicts that by 2028, a third of enterprise software will have agentic AI capabilities. That's a huge leap from zero adoption today. Major players like OpenAI, Anthropic, Salesforce, and Microsoft are already driving this innovation, enabling users to automate tasks, personalize marketing campaigns, and even analyze data in real time. Some systems are even multi-agent, where teams of AI agents work together to tackle complex tasks. Imagine having a tireless, super efficient marketing department at your fingertips. Companies like Citizens Bank are already using these smart AI agents along with traditional automation tools to smooth out processes like email distribution. And this is just the beginning. What if agentic AI could free us from mundane, repetitive tasks? Picture the time reclaimed for strategic, creative work, the kind that makes us truly valuable as marketers. Salesforce data shows sales teams spend a staggering 71% of their time on non-selling tasks, while customer service reps lose 66% of their time on activities unrelated to directly helping customers. Agentic AI can give us that time back. Agentic AI doesn't just save time, it transforms how marketing teams operate. From campaign creation and content to analyzing data in real time, these agents can optimize bids, adjust campaigns on the spot, and easily ramp up efforts when traffic spikes or new launches happen. And let's not forget about personalization. Over a third of marketers find it tough to deliver personalized customer experiences. Agentic AI makes hyper-personalization at scale, not just possible, but practical too. AI agents tailor unique experiences for each customer using real-time data. So say goodbye to those generic email blasts and one-size-fits-all campaigns. Plus, think about the power of AI-driven analytics. It can sift through mountains of data and uncover hidden insights that would take humans ages to find. This gives marketers a serious competitive edge. eMarketer's Field Guide offers practical guidance on how to implement this technology. And the first piece of advice is surprisingly simple: start small. Begin with a project that's both manageable and impactful. Test the waters and get comfortable with the technology. As you start experimenting with agentic AI, remember that data privacy and security are non-negotiable. And keep in mind, this isn't about giving up control to AI, it's about finding the right balance between automation and human oversight. So here's another key takeaway: monitor and optimize continuously. Agentic AI is evolving. It learns and adapts over time. So stay flexible. Regularly assess performance and adjust as needed to make sure the technology is working for you, not the other way around. Marketers are already finding all sorts of ways to use agentic AI. Take customer service, for example. AI agents can handle routine inquiries, and they know when to escalate trickier situations. Some 61% of customer service professionals say AI is already boosting their productivity. And in the world of sales, AI agents can qualify leads, personalize pitches, and even schedule meetings. Salesforce data shows 81% of sales teams worldwide are already using AI in some capacity. But marketing is where agentic AI can truly shine. Think content creation, campaign automation, and performance analysis powered by AI, all of which are top priorities for marketers adopting AI according to Salesforce. To get started with Agentic AI, first define your objectives. What are you aiming to achieve? Then take a good look at different platforms. Consider their capabilities, how well they can integrate with your current systems, and how transparent they are. Let's dive into some of the key players in Agentic AI. Salesforce's Agentforce offers pre-built agents for everything from customer service to marketing. Microsoft Copilot also offers pre-built agents for sales, customer service, and marketing. Netcore's Co-Marketer AI is focused on content creation and campaign personalization. For the more tech-savvy marketers out there, open source options like AutoGen lets you build complex multi-agent systems. Agentic AI has arrived, and it's only going to become more powerful and prevalent, bringing about a fundamental shift in how we work as marketers. The sooner you embrace it, the better equipped you'll be to succeed.
And we're back. Kimen, it's great to have you with us here today to talk about how autonomous AI agents are reshaping how businesses operate, make decisions, and serve customers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fascinating new topic that's changing all the time. So it's great to dig into.
Absolutely. And let's do it. Let's dig in. So here's the first question. How does agentic AI differ from generative AI? And can you provide us maybe with some specific examples of how agentic AI goes above and beyond traditional LLMs or generative AI models?
Yeah, just the idea that LLMs are traditional at this point is awesome, right? Like a year. The big difference is that LLMs and generative AI create content and data or messaging and options for you, but they don't do anything with that, right? They're the creative arm for you and give you more information. Agentic AI does that, and then also turns it into action at the same time. So, a really good example would be if you're going to send an email message out to your customers, you want some ideas on what the subject line should be or what the messaging should be. You could use generative AI to come up with those options, but then you, the marketer, are still deciding who the segment is, who you're going to send it to, when you're going to send it, and actually do the sending yourself. Agentic AI can really wrap the entire process and experience. So it's determining the segment, the content, the subject line, the timing, and actually deliver the message and deliver it all the way through. So it's really being a real partner, like a real marketer added to your team to do it.
Yeah, it's taking it to the next level and really kind of just giving you more autonomy as the marketer to free up some other stuff for more creative processes, which is great. I think
Exactly.
you gave a few examples already, but what kinds of tasks or decisions can agentic AI do for marketing or sales departments?
Yeah, and many. I think more than what teams and companies are really comfortable with yet. So it's going to be fun to see it grow. If we look at marketing teams, there's a lot that can be automated and made better by agentic AI. So I think the way I think about it is that most marketing teams have really good stories and messaging for their top customer sets, their top segments, maybe their top accounts if it's a B2B company. Everyone not in those groups often gets like pretty generic messaging or a pretty generic experience. And agentic AI gives you an opportunity to curate messaging and journeys and experiences for those, non-best customers. So you can expand your footprint, and then maybe give your team more focus on the segments and customers that really matter. Same for sales. You might want to put really high touch sales experiences in place for those high value prospects. But for everyone else, right now you're probably just sending them to the website for some FAQs or something like that. And an agentic AI experience can really up level that relationship you have with your broader customer base.
Yeah. Increased personalization is something we are seeing kind of across the board. That's what consumers want. It's what marketers want. So kind of keeping in that theme, how does agentic AI help marketers adapt to, changing consumer trends or market trends, quickly?
Yeah, it's the agents are always listening, always reacting to what's going on. And so it lets you automatically respond to changes before you even possibly know that they're happening. So it could be that something in the market or in the news is affecting the way customers are looking at things or purchasing things, and the agents will automatically see that change in response and can generate new messaging and new experiences based on that. Feed those changes back into your marketing team so you're learning what's working well and what isn't, and what new messaging is working. And then you can go and do the human work on top of that to be more creative and more reactive to what's happening in the market, but things that you can only have so many people watching so many market trends at any given time. So this really expands your ability to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. How do AI agents handle the complexity of cross-channel marketing orchestration, right? We want to be everywhere. We want to be everywhere our customers are. Can you walk us through how an agent might, coordinate personalized experiences across the different channel, like email or web or, another touch point?
Yeah, this is probably what I'm most excited about, because we have been talking about cross-channel marketing my whole career. So, more than a couple decades. And it's been limited by so many things, by systems, by technologies, and often by team organization, right? There's an email or a messaging or a channel team, there's a website team, there's an ad team. They don't talk to each other as much as we'd like. So you end up with a really great advertising campaign and you land on the website and you can't find the thing that you were advertised. Um, Agentic AI has a huge opportunity to change this. So if it's pulling from all the data across your organization, your own data, your third-party advertising data, all that stuff, and can track that person and follow that person all the way through, you can take the information that they saw off your site in interaction with sales in your digital channels and use that as information to provide the next best experience for them. So you don't have to do all the team connections and communication and campaign planning. It's just there automatically because the agentic AI is pulling from approved inventory of messages and content and delivering the right one to that person wherever they are. I
Yeah,
think it's really exciting.
it's super exciting. Um, as we talk about this, and the video touched on it a little bit, multi-agent systems,
Mhm.
how do they work? What does that really mean? And can you, give us some kind of examples on how, different agents can like coordinate to, on a complex marketing campaign from start to finish?
Sure. Yeah, it's I think some of the vocabulary is going to evolve as we get more sophisticated here. So at Salesforce here, we are toying with the word of a skill that is an action that an agent takes, and then there's maybe an agent is more of a collection of things that one of our customer puts together. But then there are different agents that they connect to do a story. The best way to think about it, I think, is like how members of your team or your organization work together. So you have someone that's copy editor and a creative person and the person that figures out the segments and all those pieces. So if each of those activities you consider an agent, that's how they can work together. So the first agent figures out, what segment isn't performing well. Hey, we need to do something better for this segment. And then since so that next agent say, hey, for this segment, what's the best story we can tell? Pulls that story together and all the way through to delivery and deployment of the campaign.
Yeah. It's like having your own separate, it's like another marketing team, right? With being able to
Right.
do all of these different tasks, but then do them without, the human oversight. Speaking of, obviously, organizations need to balance, having, giving AI agents autonomy, but also giving them appropriate guardrails and oversight. What are some checkpoints that should be built into the system to kind of make sure that the right balance is achieved?
Yeah. It's we don't want these things to run wild and loose, right? So I think the first important thing is having the right data feeding the agents. So having data, both the structured and unstructured data about your company and your products and your capabilities is really important to make sure that the agent isn't coming up with things to fill in the gaps that it doesn't know. So the more information being like previous conversations, help documentation, company information, product, whatever it might be, is really the first step. So that kind of builds the boundaries or the guardrails automatically for the agent. And then I think, just like anything in marketing, any new technology or tool, it's smart to do a bit of a crawl, walk, run approach. So I mentioned that agents are great. My first example, if there are segments that you're just sending generic, what we call default content to, start there. It's pretty low risk. You can approve the different content that's eligible to get delivered ahead of time. and then go up market or up value from there, and maybe go deeper in the funnel from there as well as things get more the conversations get higher value and more particular as you go deeper.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about data, and that's, I think a super crucial element to all of this. Um, how does agentic AI integrate with, the existing marketing technologies, that an organization may have, like a CRM or an analytics platform?
Sure. Yeah. The agents can pull data from wherever you have it. At Salesforce, we talk about Data Cloud as being the source or the container for all the data, but even that doesn't hold all the data. It just points and connects to data wherever you have it in your company. And it's kind of up to the marketing teams to know how much data they need to really get started. We always argue that don't make it perfect, just have some information, some data, and do something low risk to get started. Because if you wait for it to be perfect, you'll never get there. Um, so the best way to do it is to connect, you're right, the CRM data, your analytics data, any advertising information you have. Often we focus so much on owned media, but advertising is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And use that as the basis for making decisions, and use, the intelligence and skill and creativity of your marketing team to, start in that more generative AI experience and create a bunch of content based on the data, and then deploy that to the agents to deliver the messaging automatically. I think that breaks it down so it's a little bit more digestible and a little less scary to get that messaging out to customers directly.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that teams or organizations kind of starting on this journey, it can feel really overwhelming to kind of
Yeah.
figure out where to start. So, how do you think teams should kind of adapt their workflows to work with agentic AI systems?
Right. So first off, I think you're right. Like, bite off what you and your organization can chew. If it feels really overwhelming and that if you get the first thing wrong, all progress is going to stop on it, do something smaller. But I always give two pieces of advice. One is if there's some problem or decision that the team or company has a big disagreement on, like whether we pitch a value message or a efficiency message, whatever it might be, is AI a way to test that and get some more data and really answer that question? So that's one area to do, and you can kind of break down that problem as small as you need to for your company. The other one is just, again, start in in a less risky area. So messaging on a landing page that's maybe not available to everyone is much less risky than on a shopping cart or a sales communication page, where the people that have gone there are very qualified, and you really want to make sure that's a great experience. So I think starting there really, really can get you going and break down this feeling of newness and fear that comes with any new technology.
Yeah, I love the idea of starting with something that is, either a problem, a pain point with in your organization, or something that, you've always wanted to prove, and being able to then prove that through is super exciting. As we think about, okay, we've implemented agentic AI, how are then teams being able to, measure the success? What are the specific metrics? What are the KPIs that they should be kind of looking out for to say, okay, we know this is working. We know that this is doing what we want it to be doing.
Yeah, there's two different buckets on this in my mind. One is efficiency, and the other one is effectiveness.
Mhm.
So efficiency is, can you do more, create more messaging, more options, more campaigns with your team, and do it, faster, better. That's one. So the ways to calculate that might be not as obvious in click-through rates and conversion rates and things like that. So time spent on things, campaigns, things like that, that you would be able to track as an organization. And then the second one is effectiveness, which is really, what marketers are great at tracking forever. Did my message get more clicks, more qualified leads, more purchases than what I had before? And you can manage that by segment as well, or by profile area, to be able to see if it's having the success you want, and then tweak it from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good approach, and really smart. Um, Obviously, we want to talk about, are there any potential limitations? What do you think marketers should be aware of as they, explore agentic AI?
Yeah, agentic AI is really good when there's a lot of options to show someone. If you're in a situation where there aren't a lot of options, like they must submit their email address on this page to move further, they have to do this, they can only get this piece of content if they're this kind of customer. That's where agentic AI is sort of limited. If
Hmm.
it has so many constraints that doesn't have a lot of flexibility, it's better just not to deploy it there and just use your more traditional marketing techniques. So, higher up in the funnel, maybe especially right now as we're getting started, where the risk is lower, I think is a really good place to focus. And the deeper down the funnel where there's more information, more limitations, I'd wait for that until you're more sophisticated with it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Um, Thinking as we again like go along in this journey with agentic AI, what are the skills that marketers should be developing to work with these systems? This is a very new technology. We're seeing what AI can do. What are the things that marketers can really bone up on to work with this?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different areas. One is the way that you think of marketing overall. We often talk about I keep talking about it too, creating segments and journeys for your customer. They're going to get a message on Tuesday, and 4 days later they're going to get this, and if they leave the site, they're going to get that. And it's very regimented and very marketer driven rather than customer driven. And so maybe it's not so much of a skill, but a mindset of, what if I don't orchestrate these journeys all the way through, but keep generating content that any given person might be eligible for, and putting eligibility and business rules on that content and messaging, and seeing what the agentic AI selects and delivers for each person can be a really great way to then get more creative and maybe get to try some things that your company hadn't been letting you do,
Yeah.
whether campaigns or messaging. So that's one area. On the more technical side, I do think understanding how to interact with these agents takes some skills. And so we talk a lot about prompt engineering,
Mhm.
which is, sounds a little more overkill than I think we mean, but like how to interact and how to ask the right questions of the agent so it gets the right response. There is still quite a bit of skill and nuance there. Maybe that'll change as we, get further along here, but focusing there a bit and getting comfortable and confident in that certainly breaks down the fear and gives you more opportunities and more creativity about how to interact here.
Absolutely. I've definitely noticed that, being able to create the right prompt is so key, even in my own personal,
Yeah,
exploration of generative AI and ChatGPT and all of that, being able to kind of pin down exactly what you want from it is a skill.
right.
And then but once you figure it out, it's really easy to get the kind of output that you're looking for. Um, Thinking about, I know you mentioned kind of getting creative. What does the rise of agentic AI mean for the creative process in marketing? I think that we're seeing, it being put to use in a lot of very like, automation type ways. But what about, the creative process? Is there a role there? Is it helping others, helping marketers be more creative?
I think it will help them be more creative and give them, I mean, marketers have always been creative. Maybe more like letting more of their messages and ideas get out to the world, because it's not that everyone is going to see this message. That might be a little risky, might be a little um, off brand, to try something new. But if you're delivering it specifically to people that will respond to it better, as predicted by the AI, that should give you a little bit more opportunity to try those new creative ideas that maybe were too risky before, to show to everyone on the homepage or show to everyone in the campaign. So I think that's one thing. And then the other piece is just getting more creative content in the hopper in the inventory to be able to select from.
Mhm.
Um, Campaign content creation has been always such a limiting factor. And if you can use AI to help create the content to then select from, gives you just more opportunities to pick from for a better experience.
Yeah, awesome. All right, I think we've got a couple audience questions. What does the rollout plan of agentic AI look like, and where should marketers start?
Yeah. Somewhere where you're not going to have a lot of pushback, right?
Mm,
Like it depends on your company a bit. I talk to customers, some are coming at it from frankly, like, I want to do as little as possible to check the box and say I've done AI. If your company's like that, your approach needs to be different. Other ones are like, yep, let's go. We're going all the way through and doing this. So know where you are in your culture on that spectrum. But again, it's starting quickly with something that has an outcome that is interesting to your company. And that could be a text message campaign or a social campaign, whatever is appropriate, but something small that you can get real numbers from, either efficiency or effective numbers, and go from there.
Awesome. Great advice. Is agentic AI more appropriate for one vertical over another? If yes, what vertical applications do you recommend to get started?
Mm. I think there are really great applications across all verticals. If I keep talking about lower risk, so something like travel and hospitality or retail might feel lower risk than financial services or regulated industries like healthcare. But I think it can be an easy cop out to say, oh, our industry is not ready for it. So there are always going to be opportunities, again, where you have customers or prospects that are being ignored because they're not in your top segments or bullseye or ICP, whatever it might be. And so take advantage of that opportunity where they're not getting a great experience right now and see what you can do differently. And yeah, don't do stuff past the login or past, in the main product maybe yet if you're not ready, but don't let it limit you.
Yeah, everyone's in the business of, making better consumer connections. Everyone's in the business of more personalization. So I from my perspective, completely agree. All right, so we've got time for one more question. And this is, I think it's a good one to land on, something to really think about.
Okay.
How do you see the relationship between human marketers and AI agents evolving over the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch. I think there's there's a lot of fear when something new comes in. Is my job going to change? How do I handle all those things? And I think the best way to think about it is this is a way to expand your footprint and your capabilities in a way that you haven't been able to before. So humans are great at editing and much faster at editing than creating. So you can use AI to come up with a bunch of ideas and narrow it down and then have that create a bunch of other ideas. And that's something that maybe you were limited by before because you had to spend so much time in the operations, getting the message out, picking the segment, getting the data together, all that stuff that you don't have to do anymore. You don't have to draw those individual journeys anymore. You just say, hey, here's a person, show them what's best for them wherever they are. You can focus on the more interesting human stuff rather than making the systems work like you had to before. So that's where I think the most interesting piece is. It'll be a journey over the next couple of years for sure, but I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Oh, love that. What a great note to end on. Kimen, thank you so much for chatting with me today and answering all these questions for our audience. We really appreciate it. Before we wrap up, I'm just going to take a minute to tell you about eMarketer's media channels. Mark your calendars. The eMarketer Summit is back. Friday, February 7th, our analysts are going to unpack major trends shaping the creator economy for 2025. There's going to be live panels with marketers from Ulta Beauty, Taco Bell, and Uber, and more. Registration is open on our events page at emarketer.com/events. And while you're there, you can also register for more webinars like this one. Also, don't forget to check out our podcasts, Behind the Numbers, Reimagining Retail in the Banking and Payments Show. Listen everywhere you find podcasts and watch on Spotify and eMarketer's YouTube channel. And finally, please subscribe to our newsletters. Just keep up with the trends and the news. Keep an eye on your email for the link to today's playback. And of course, feel free to contact us if you have any other questions. Thank you all for your time. Thanks again to Kimen, the team at Salesforce, and our eMarketer Studio team behind the scenes for making this webinar possible. Enjoy the rest of your day.